Okay, Dr. Arvind.
So your first question was that why only 10?
He represents one of the oldest organization, DST, who promoted startups. Yeah.
So first question was why only about 10% of the startup are incubated in incubators.
About 10%.
About
Don't take me in
about
just
10%. So I think this is based on one of the report published by the CREST and that.
Yeah,
NRC.
there are several reports.
Yeah, so they highlighted that in India we have the incubator density of 0.8 per million, whereas in the developed country like US, UK, it is 10. So we have to first increase from that you can say finding. The conclusion is that we have to increase the number of incubators. Second is that they said out of 10% of the incubated startup, it is means out of total incubated, only 10% of the incubator are accommodating them of 90% of the startup. So some of the incubator means more than 90%, about 90% of the incubation center is not performing to the mark in that sense. So they are underutilized. So they have to increase their outreach activity to scout the startup. And whenever I meet some of the CEO of the incubation center, I always say that you go to the startup, not a startup will come to you. So the strategy should change. You have to go. Like whenever we are searching for the cricketer in IPL, we go to the district level and search the player, no? Good player. Similarly, we have to go there. And
Arvind, you have raised very important observation. Do you agree with Arvind?
And
everybody agrees that incubators are not performing to the mark. Okay, if you agree with that,
only 10%.
Very quickly, what is the solution?
Yeah.
If you agree, then answer.
I think, but incubators should enhance their visibility. They should engage with the policy makers. They should be connected with them, and they should also that's my observation, that every incubation center should document the success of their incubation center. They should have that impact booklet ready. This will give a credibility of that incubation center. And when you come to, for example, if you come to Global Bio India, where thousands of startups are coming there to exhibit their product or technology, so you get to exchange your credibility and taking them on board. So that's the power of networking, I think. So yes, enhancement of visibility is required for any incubation center to succeed and to get more and more startups incubated.
It's better said than done.
Anand, yeah. Sir, I do not agree. I do not agree that incubators.
I'm happy to say that you said that.
Yes, sir. I wear two hats. So I also head an incubator, and we need to. I mean, this is Pandora's box, but anyways, are incubators enoughly supported in terms of manpower? Incubators do want to do a lot of things. They want to document. They want to be, reaching out to all corners or whatever, and so on and so forth. But then, and documenting, etc., etc. This is something really, a lot of huge wish list. But then incubators have not been able to do that. If you look at how many programs really support incubators per se, in contrast, you get to see so many number of programs supporting startups per se. So this is another aspect out there.
Yeah, I too do not agree, sir. But one very important thing about performance. But
initially, everybody said we agree.
No, I agreed to the IPL model actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but one very important thing I think is that host institute, the educational institutions, they should not look at incubators only as a cherry on the cake, like you're wearing a jacket on your dress. Incubators are looked like that. So I think this kind of conferences should also somewhere invite. This was point of last AGM, Prasad. Okay, I highlighted that, but I did not know that time I will join MOE. So I said that we should write later ISBA to UGC to host institute should treat incubators and incubator managers little well so that they perform. They are performing, but they are used as something like showcase. आप घर में आने के बाद घर का अच्छा कॉर्नर दिखाते हो ना गेस्ट को, तो वैसे इंक्यूबेटर्स को यूज करना बंद करना. इंक्यूबेटर्स बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं.
Sir, same. I would not say they're not doing a good job, but it's like, in my opinion, there's a potential to do a lot more. And if you look at the top performing incubators of the country versus people who are new or who have not been as active in the industry, there is a huge gap. And incubation professionals. So when we look at an incubator, generally the team, especially in the smaller incubators, changes quite a bit. So there is no long-term project at every incubator level. There is no professional association of incubation professionals. So even this is a place where incubators meet, but as an incubation professional, where do you go in your career? How do you develop? If you have a success story, how is you getting some return out of it? That perspective should also be looked at.
With this
Yeah,
responsibility,
just to clarify that, it is not DST view. It is based on, my comment was based on the report.
everybody's his personal view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is based on the report published by that two centers,
Okay.
which is part of our innovation ecosystem itself. So either we agree to that report or not. It is up to us.
I'm going to justify your statement.
Yeah.
Tarish.
Yeah, just one thing to clarify. I did not comment on the performance of the incubation center. Me being from, BIRAC, supporting incubation center, yes, I'm not judging them that they are not performing with. They are doing a commendable job, and everyone, I think, would agree on that. We have supported close to 100 incubation centers now, and we have also entered tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So my view was just
Are all
on-
incubators doing well? Out of 100?
Obviously, there are mature
Very honest
incubation
answer.
centers. I'm
Not
giving-
direct answer.
Yes, I'm giving an honest answer here. There are, some already mature incubation centers who started, long back. They have multiple holistic support system from, various government agencies. Then there are emerging incubation centers who are doing commendable job there. And then there are who just have started, So there should be comparison between, similar kind of things, not like who just have started with the ones who already are matured and doing, great jobs there. So yeah.
All your early mature incubators are sustainable?
Okay, so sustainability is another, I think, a very
Yes or no?
detailed question.
Yes or no?
I would say no, of course, on that. Sustainability,
There we come. Okay,
Yeah.
now let's go to
all right.
graduate.
Okay.
Now, DST is saying that we give, I won't say, X amount of money, and within a certain number of years, you become financially sustainable. BARAC says the same thing. DPIT says the same thing. All ministries say the same thing. You have X square foot of space, X amount of money, and certain number of years, maybe 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever, become sustainable. How is that a myth? Or that's a reality? Can you be sustainable?
Ask them, yes, incubation centers, because
You
they
can
are
volunteer
the ones.
in between. Yeah, Anand.
So I'll just complicate the problem further and tell you that, see, what are we talking about? We are talking about incubators, most often bootstrapped, most often pre-revenue, most often those ones who are into incubator आए हैं तो इसीलिए because they want to use the laboratory, they want to get their product validated and so on and so forth. अब इनके पास से आप क्या incubation fees में ले लोगे जो अपने आप को sustainable बना लोगे? See, the moment at the same time, like from yesterday's discussion, incubators should not become a real estate model. Agreed. Incubators, equity बहुत सारा. Now equity is again notional. जब तक आप liquidate नहीं करते हो आगे, again this is our issue. So given all of this, the point I want to make is sustainability of an incubator in a long term is a question. There has to be, like as it has been noted in Minor Hints by T. Madhav Rao, and then it talks about Rajyashray. So there has to be Rajyashray to some amount of innovation in this form, and this is where it needs to be taken up.
So
You have
I believe that's a common response Do you agree with Anand?
Something more, sir. So I completely agree with Rajashray model.
Agree and more. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
So there is one very important thing, and one thing which Dr. Jagdale will understand. I will say in Marathi, ki incubators la पोसलं पाहिजे. Okay, and some of you will understand. But I'll come in English and Hindi.
Need to be nurtured.
Nurtured, and so I presented this to Chancellor of the University when I was heading incubation center.
Very
Don't
quick,
look
very
at
quick.
us as profit center. Don't look at us as a cost center. Incubation centers are value centers. Correct. We should not look at them as profit center. We should not look at them as a cost center. We are not at all cost center. We should not look at incubator. हम कितने
Yogesh,
सारे
it is well said and done. You need money to run it. So it has to be either you have to make profit or somebody has to support.
So universities, if government is not ready to give after 5 crores or 10 crores and all that, fine. Universities are there, or industry bodies. We have Ashish ji, we have Anand ji here. The industrial incubators are there. They should.
Mukund,
Yeah.
can incubators be profit centers?
No,
That's
sir.
the only way to sustain, or somebody has to support.
No, sir. So you said sustainability. Sustainability means they have enough funds coming from different sources. Different incubators can have different models for sustainability. If I am an incubator,
Give me few sources of funding.
yes. So there are multiple sources from
Just
government.
two sources.
So I know that different ministries fund. They
Government fund is always limited.
yes. So that is where I was getting at.
All of you are from the government. You know that funds are limited. You want to fund, but you can't fund.
30 to 40% incubation should earn somewhere from machines and training programs. 60% should be supported by the host institute. Always throughout life.
Is it really happening somewhere?
It should happen. Yeah.
It should, nahi.
Yeah.
Now there are hundreds of incubators.
Yes.
Give me one model where it is happening.
I don't know models. PhD Tech, I don't know. Yeah. Mahindra, yes.
There are some.
AIC Mahindra is
There are
happening.
some. Very good. I'm very happy
Very
to see
good,
that.
very good.
Very happy to see that. Okay, now coming back to this, we want to take least possible equity. That's a general consensus and guidelines by all the ministries. Don't overburden. Now, the thought is coming, don't give debt funding. Take only equity. So there's no stress on the incubator, the startup, which is a good thing. I'm very happy. I will be very happy to write off if necessary, if genuine failure is there. So take least possible equity, exit fast, don't hang on because you want to recover money so that you have money to invest in others. And from the money recovered from the startups, reinvest into other startup companies. Don't make money from that much. Very small amount of money you are allowed to make as an incubator. In this guideline, how do you sustain? Quickly.
So again, we have to create one or two very big startups which will give you money back. Not 20 every year.
You have to
Suppose you're
exit
getting-
fast.
Huh?
Exit soon.
Yeah.
By the time they are not big.
So this is not possible, and I am happy that Anita ma'am is also here. Yeah. So that it is not very means this not true on field. I have incubated startup which take at least 30 months to get first rupee. 30 months to get first rupee. So that's where we should have focus on some very good startups which might be tech or manufacturing startup where you make 3-4 saal mein you get something and you get 2-3% equity, but his investor will not allow you to come back at least for 5 years. So 2-3 good startups will give at least, like say for example in rupees 5 to 10 crores which will survive your incubation center for next 5 years. So again, you have to bifurcate the program, sir. You have to have one acceleration program for existing startups. You should be able to attract the revenue generating startups to the incubation center so that they see some value into it and they see something more from you. Again, one point missing is that we are just looking at funding. Incubation center should have very good mentors. And that is something which is missing at the mentoring part. Otherwise, they will not make money. And for that, you should not do it everything. Again, same point I will say. You have to build that overall ecosystem or leverage the national ecosystem also.
So I'll just quickly add to this, and this is where it is important to identify high value, from where will the high value come. And this is where we have tried doing something. We have now a research to rupees program or a tech transfer hub wherein we are trying to look at low hanging fruits. if this inspires some more, and then investors, and then angels, and so on and so forth. But this is how it can be taken up. So research commercialization cannot be done away, saying this is a different ball game and incubation. But number one. Number two, there is a old OM of DSIR 2009 OM which allows educationists, which allows researchers in public organizations, while being in public employment, they could be profitably engaged with startups and so on, which is not being practiced. This is something I think forums like ISBA, forums like governments should push this in. Now, only when researchers see some value into it will they support, and then you can imagine
Just
the way
last question. Now, everywhere in the world, you need a proper ecosystem for startups to flourish. Not only incubators, it's a startups only. And for ecosystem means you have industries on board, we have government on board, you have of course the education institutions on board, whether Silicon Valley, Research Triangle Park, Sophia Antipolis, STIC, Shanghai. These are ecosystems, not standalone education institution and incubator within the campus of education institution. We have some experiments in India, rather fairly good to study, but they are not real science parks, I feel, with the IIT Madras, IKP, good initiative. Do you think that this is high time for you to graduate from a standalone TBI on education campus to a research park, science park, catapults or innovation clusters? You represent government. Are there any plans? Very quick.
So Gujarat has come up with a standalone incubator in a biotech park with this logic itself, and it looks forward to integrate all other incubators in the state and in the region possibly to take it forward.
Even Faridabad also, there is an incubation center in the science and tech park. So I think we also see, sorry. For Lucknow, there is a science and tech park, but I don't see that only such kind of systems are going to completely give us the results that we are looking to. So there would always be mix and match.
Are the industries on board?
For RCB, yes, there are industries coming up. Many even startups.
Associated with the
That's
startups?
what I'm telling you.
Very good.
Yes, they are coming up there. MOUs are being signed up. Even recently, we had a investor connect over there. So such kind of whole ecosystem are being set up in the in the regions itself. So that's
Biotech needs very different treatment.
it's a complete
altogether.
change ball game.
Yes.
So two things about plans very quickly. So we are launching through AICT also lab to market program. I think many universities and institutes have lakhs of square feet of place. We do not need more infrastructure. Same place we should practice like research to rupee and lab to market, which we are going to not only fund but completely enable through our innovation
So you
centers.
expect?
Yes, so the policy is in place through innovation center. So we have established something.
Are we
called as
going to
innovation
welcome
center.
industries on campus of AICT institutions
Yes,
on campus?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Very good.
And second, one more point, sir. Next conference means what is missing in the ecosystem, you said. One is that we would like to see 30, 40 accelerators also sitting here in ISBA. So every industry is running accelerator program or their own incubation program. So next is, and that will be great success of this, building this ecosystem. To come very quickly on it, next 2 months, we are going to work with around 40 accelerators from MOE's Innovation Cell, bringing them on a platform where the academic incubation system will also directly get access to accelerators through us.
Wonderful. Mukund? Yeah, one second.
Sir, along the similar lines, we are also looking at incubator is not the only place where startups can go and get help. And academic incubators is definitely not the only model. We are looking at corporates that can, incubate startups.
I know you're sitting with corporates. Wonderful. You want to say something?
Under the national ICPS program, as well as the new quantum program, such kind of provision are being evolved.
Yeah.
So later on, we can see a complete ecosystem will be developed.
Wonderful.
At least in these two areas.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think we had a very vibrant discussion. I really appreciate the panel.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.
it's a happiest moment for me. Exactly 1 year before, when we had the pre-conference workshop at Science IIT Bombay, hosted by Science IIT Bombay, without consulting my office bearers and the governing body members, Sumoto, I took a decision and I announced, saying that the next pre-conference workshop and conference will have it at Hyderabad, and we want THUB and CCMB to take it forward. And I don't know what conference, but I had conference with my colleagues and friends who have been there with my network. And Vijay was there, Ramji was there on that particular day. And immediately I made an announcement, I looked at them, they nodded their head, and it has happened today, exactly 1 year before. And thanks to all the Hyderabad incubators who have joined hands in organizing this, and especially to THUB and CCMB for making this event to happen. In this pre-conference, I also take this opportunity to recognize the presence of Mr. H.K. Mittal with us amongst us. He's sitting in the last row today. Right. It's a pleasure to have him with us because 20 years before when this association has been formed, he was like part of the association, well-wisher of the association. Right? It's a peculiar community is ours. An association, right, will negotiate with the government, will try to do with the government. But as an incubation center, 20 years before when we started this association, where a few of us are still continuing, right, Bala, myself and others are the founding members of this association, we found Mr. Mittal has been representing the government, but has been so supportive to us in forming the association and to have the bylaws and how to take it forward. And he has been very supportive. And slowly, we learned many things from him, and he also slowly made us to learn how the government will detach from the association. And he himself, after 10, 15 years of the support, right, he also made us to understand, right, how this association can grow. And even after his superannuation, he still continues to be our well-wisher. We accepted our request in the last